Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're just diving into Forsaken, I know it can be a bit overwhelming figuring out which survivors will work best for your playstyle. But don't worry, I've got your back. In this video, I'm going to break down the survivor tier list, giving you all the info you need to make sure you pick the right character for your next game. Trust me, the right choice can really make or break your match, and knowing which survivors excel in different situations will give you a huge advantage. So whether you're all about the stealthy approach or prefer to go in full force, we're going to take a look at the survivors who can handle each playstyle. Some survivors are great for those who love to stay hidden and outsmart the killers, while others are perfect for those who enjoy playing a more direct, action-packed role. I'll help you understand which survivors are worth your time and which ones might need a little more love to shine. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who to pick to increase your chances of survival and, hopefully, land on the winning team. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking survivors in Forsaken. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The survivors in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, two-time. Alright, let's talk about the two-time survivor in Forsaken. And honestly, if you're considering picking this one, you might want to think twice. This character is one of the worst in the game, and it's honestly not hard to see why. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Two-time has absolutely no active abilities. Yep, zero. Nada. It's all about that passive ability, which is, well, underwhelming to say the least. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, passive abilities can still be good, right? And sure, in some cases they are, but two-time's passive only gives you a couple of perks, like increased speed, stamina restoration, and removing negative effects when you get a critical hit or if you're the last one standing. Sounds kinda okay, but here's the catch. All of these are super situational. When you compare them to what other survivors bring to the table, it just doesn't cut it. Especially when there's a monster on your tail and you're just trying to survive. When you put it all together, two-time feels more like a liability than an asset. The lack of active abilities means you're pretty much stuck with basic survival mechanics, which isn't ideal when you're facing off against some of the tougher monsters in the game. If you're serious about surviving and want to give yourself a fighting chance, there are much better options on the survivor list. Trust me, two-time isn't the one you want to rely on when the stakes are high. The survivors in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Elliot. Alright, let's talk about Elliot in Forsaken. I know a lot of people would toss him in the B tier, but I'm gonna be real with you. I think C tier is the right spot for him. Don't get me wrong, Elliot's got some solid healing abilities, and if you're in a team, he's a total lifesaver. He's built to support the squad, providing some great heals when everyone's in the thick of things. That's where Elliot shines. The more people around him, the better he gets. But here's the catch. If you're going solo, Elliot can feel like a bit of a liability. His kit is all about helping the team, which is fantastic in a coordinated group, but when you're off on your own, you're going to notice that there's not much in terms of self-defense or mobility. His healing is great, but it won't save you from getting ambushed or stuck in a bad spot. Without the backup, he's pretty vulnerable. So yeah, Elliot's one of those survivors who really shines when you're with a solid crew. But if you're flying solo, it's like being stuck with a healer who can't heal themselves. That's why I think C tier is where he fits best. Great for teams, but solo players, not so much. It's all about knowing when and where to use him. The survivors in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Noob, Builderman, and Chance. Alright, now that we've talked about the top tier survivors, let's dive into the B tier. These survivors might not be the absolute best, but they're still solid choices for players who are learning the ropes or just need something reliable to bring to the table. Let's check out some of these B-tier survivors from Forsaken and see why they might just be the perfect fit for your next match. First up, we've got Noob. Yeah, you heard that right. Noob isn't just a name. He's surprisingly solid in his own way. This survivor might be the most balanced of the bunch, and for new players, that's a huge win. He has the ability to boost his speed, turn invisible for a short time, and even heal himself using the Slate Skin Potion. Now, these abilities are great, especially if you're starting out and need something flexible. But, as you might guess, he's no match for the more advanced survivors higher up on the tier list. Still, for those who like versatility, Noob gets the job done in a pinch. Next on the list is Builderman. This guy is a bit of a team player and has some nifty tricks up his sleeve. He's basically an upgraded version of Elliot. Builderman can build dispensers that heal teammates in a small radius, which is pretty handy in a tight spot. And if that's not enough, he can also drop sentries that stun or slow down the killer. These two abilities are useful, but they require a bit of strategy and teamwork to really shine. He's not exactly the heavy hitter or the most tactical, but he brings some nice utility to the group. Moving on, we've got Chance. And if you're wondering, yes, Chance is all about, well, chance. This guy is pretty much as luck-based as it gets. Whether you're flipping coins or rolling dice, you'll be at the mercy of RNG. When things go in your favor, Chance can be absolutely awesome. He can shoot the killer, restore health and stamina, and even remove status effects. But, and it's a big but, when the RNG gods are feeling cruel, you might find yourself getting the short end of the stick. So, if you like a bit of chaos in your gameplay, Chance could be a fun pick, but he's definitely a bit of a gamble. Now, while Noob might be the jack of all trades in a way, Builderman shines when you need a support character who can make a difference in team play. But let's be real, these guys aren't going to carry you through the toughest challenges. They're great when you're starting to learn the game or need something dependable, but they definitely need some backup from higher tier survivors if you're aiming for those big wins. Don't get me wrong, these survivors have their moments. Builderman's dispensers can be lifesavers when your teammates are about to go down, and Noob's speed boost can really help you escape tight situations. And then there's Chance, who can surprise everyone with some ridiculous comeback plays. But in terms of raw power or tactical advantage, they just don't hold up to the big players in the A and S tiers. In the end, B-tier survivors are perfect for players who don't mind a bit of unpredictability and are still working on refining their strategies. They offer a nice balance of fun and functionality without being overpowered. So, if you're just starting out or want something that isn't too complex, these survivors will get you through plenty of matches, but they won't steal the show in the long run. Keep that in mind when you're building your team. So, what do you think? Will you be bringing Noob, Builderman, or Chance to your next game? They might not be the ultimate winners, but they sure know how to keep things interesting. The survivors in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Shedletki and 007 and 7. Let's talk about some of the best survivors in Forsaken that have made their mark in A tier. These characters might not be the absolute best, but trust me, they can still carry you through some seriously intense matches. First up, we've got Shedletki. Now, this guy could have easily been an S-tier character, but there's one thing holding him back. He only has 2 abilities. It might sound like a drawback, but let me tell you, those 2 abilities are more than enough to make him a force to be reckoned with. Shedletki has a slash ability that does a couple of things. It can stun or damage the killer. This is super helpful when you're trying to create some distance or buy time for your team. The second skill, Fried Chicken, restores HP, which is like giving you a second chance to survive. These 2 skills together are top tier for keeping you in the game longer, and they're fantastic for those clutch moments. If you play him right, he's definitely a game changer, even without the extra abilities that other S-tier survivors might boast. Next up, we've got 007 and 7, who is one of the best survivors when it comes to confusing the killer. His clone abilities are where things get really fun. You can spawn clones of yourself and control them to mess with the killer's strategy. Imagine the chaos you can create. The killer is left wondering which one of you is the real deal, giving you the perfect opportunity to escape or even turn the tables. This ability is absolutely game-changing, and when used well, it can totally shift the momentum in your favor. But here's the thing, while 007 and 7 is powerful, he's more effective in beginner to intermediate level lobbies. At higher levels, experienced killers tend to see through the clones pretty easily. So, if you're playing against skilled players, you'll need to get creative with how you use them. Even so, in the right hands, this character is a game-winning pick, especially if you're in a lobby full of players who aren't quite as sharp when it comes to spotting clones. In conclusion, both Shedletki and 007 and 7 might not be in the S tier, but don't let that fool you. These survivors can absolutely carry your team to victory if used properly. Whether it's using Shedletki's healing and stunning abilities to stay in the fight longer, or 007 and 7's clones to mess with the killer's head, they both offer unique advantages that make them a solid pick in A tier. Keep them in your roster and you'll be setting yourself up for success in Forsaken. The survivors in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Guest 1337. Alright, let me tell you about one of the most overpowered survivors in Forsaken right now, Guest 11337. If you haven't unlocked this character yet, you're missing out big time. Trust me, this guy is a total game changer. With his charge ability, you can knock down killers with ease, and that's just the beginning. He can also turn invisible and block killer attacks, making him nearly impossible to hit. Imagine being a killer and suddenly having no clue where your target went. Frustrating, right? But wait, there's more. Guest 1337's punching skill lets you stun killers, leaving them totally defenseless for a short time. If you time it just right, you can completely shut down a killer's attack, giving you all the time you need to escape or even turn the tables and finish them off. The combo of invisibility, charge knockdown, and stuns, it's like the ultimate survivor trifecta. Honestly, if you can master the timing on these abilities, you'll find yourself winning game after game even as a solo player. Look, if you want to rack up those wins before the devs inevitably nerf this character, you need to unlock Guest 1337 ASAP. Seriously, his kit is so powerful that you'll feel like you're breaking the game in the best way possible. Don't wait around, get in there, put in the practice, and watch as your win count shoots through the roof. Just be ready for the inevitable nerf, because this level of power isn't going to stay around forever. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.